Hi, everybody. And in today's episode, we're going to dive in deep. We're going to talk about how you manage your active listings and how to close like a pro. So, if you have ever felt overwhelmed by juggling 100 things at once, trying to keep up with all the showings, all the feedback, the calls, the offers, there's so many moving pieces when you have a active listing, as well as once it goes under contract. So, this is where we want to talk about creating a really solid listing and closing checklist. Okay. So, in today's episode, we're going to learn how to create a system, which, that's my favorite word. And then I think my favorite words are systems and how's your database? you know. So then we want to streamline your showing feedback, and we want to make your communication with the sellers and the other agent go smoothly and professionally, and everybody's happy. That's the bottom line, is we want everybody to be happy when the listing goes under contract and then when we close it. Welcome to the Unstoppable Real Estate Agents Podcast. I'm your host and real estate productivity expert, Kim Hughes. Join me as we focus on real strategies and implement real solutions designed for you to achieve major success in your business and life while getting you organized. So here are some things that you could do is look at your listing inventory right now and see if you have your listing checklist in front of you. If you don't, when we get off of this video podcast or you're reading the blog, take a look at your listing checklist. Let's talk about that first, because there's a lot of moving pieces with that listing. You've got to be ready when you get a phone call that says, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about listing my property." When you get off that telephone, there should be something you're sending to that potential seller. That could be a pre-listing package that you've created, which I highly recommend. A pre-listing package is going to set you out from everybody else because nobody else is doing it. So you always want to think about, what can I provide to the seller prior to the listing appointment that will either make them think and ask questions or not understand something that they can ask you to explain. So then when you show up for that listing appointment, they're going to have everything they need ready, because you're going to give them homework. You're going to ask them to do certain things before you arrive. What is that? That's totally up to you. That could be where you're asking them if they have a floor plan of the house. Do they have, do they have that they can sit down and discuss with you? Their goals in selling. Where are they moving to? So are you going to sell their home and help them buy another home? Or do you need to refer them to an agent outside of your market because they're moving outside of your market? So these are the things that you might ask. The reason for selling. Tell me about your neighborhood. Tell me about, the schools in your area. Have them tell you what they love about that area. And that will help you when you arrive for that appointment and you're looking at your notes from them. And then when you leave with the listing, then you will have notes so that you don't have to recreate the wheel. You'll have their information of what they enjoy, and you can intermingle that into the marketing material. And then, and I always say that if it's your seller giving you a story about, the neighbors or something like that, you can put that in your marketing material. You can say, our sellers love this neighborhood because, and that could be something that a buyer is going to look at and go, wow, that's really great that they shared that with that agent, or they shared that with me, etc., whatever that may be. But you've got to have a solid checklist. So what I want you to do is if you don't already have a checklist, it's all up in the brain. Let's take it out and put it on paper. And then we decide how we move forward and organizing that to be part of your business systems when you take on a new listing. So the first phase, and I always say, let's do it in phase. So phase 1 is your pre-listing. What are you going to send them? What are you going to package, and how are you delivering that package? A lot of people will put a PDF together, email it to them. They may drop it off at their house, with popcorn and some water or whatever. And, so that way they're kind of entertained as they're going through it. If you have a video on your website, which I hope you do, that talks about your marketing strategy or, more about you, about the market, how to buy and sell in today's market, then I would put those links in there so that they could go and watch those videos. Those could be educational, so what they can expect when you arrive for the appointment. So these are things that just really will set you outside of everybody else. Plus, it'll give them information prior to the listing appointment. So they're not just kind of anxious about, well, what are they going to talk about? Well, what are they going to ask me? So be prepared. Answer those questions before you can get there, or be prepared to answer them as soon as you get there. And then once you're on the listing appointment, you're going to go through everything that they've either emailed to you prior to the appointment or they've handed it to you at the appointment. You go through it real quick, then you start asking your questions, you do your listing presentation, and then now let's say you've got the listing. So then you get back to the office. Well, now you have to have your listing checklist, right? So this is where you should have every little thing written down. I don't care if it's, the smallest little task that you think, oh, I'll remember that. I don't have to write it down. Write it down because you will forget it. And it could be a crucial thing to that particular seller. So write down everything that you do for the listing. So you have phase 1, which is your pre-listing, phase 2, which is your listing appointment. Phase 3 is now you're marketing the listing. So what do you do to market it? Well, you have to write your content for the property. You have to put it in the MLS. You have to do 100 things to market that property. A lot of agents look at their markets and think they don't need to do too much because maybe the house doesn't, maybe you're in a market that moves very quickly and homes just don't stay on the market more than a week. You still need to implement because when you do this, you're not only impressing your current seller, but your future sellers are watching you as well. You may not know that, but your future seller could be coming to you because the way you marketed a property. So make sure that you do everything on your checklist. That's, if it goes under contract within 48 hours, then of course you're not going to do that. But let's say that property in your market could be a 2-week, on the market. Then what is your checklist going to look like? And what is your social media strategy, your marketing strategy to do with that listing? So a lot of agents won't put that listing on their social media because they think it's a waste of time because I'm going to sell it in a week. Well, you still need to put it out there because that's what your seller is expecting. And it shows that you are following through with your listing marketing so that everybody is impressed by it. Because when it goes on social media, depending on the algorithm, it's going to go all over the place. And so you want everybody to see how you market. This is your social media platforms are your marketing platforms. This is the way that your buyers and sellers of the future see how you work and how you market not only properties, but also how do you market yourself and how do you market the community and things like that. So you've got to be very well-rounded when it comes to social media. And then you have to have, so you have your checklist. Now let's say you're under contract. So what happens when you're under contract? So that's another phase. I think that's phase 1, 2, 3, 4. So phase 4 is where you have a very organized checklist action plan of what happens as it's under contract. So many days this takes place and so many days this happens. Do you have an email sequence that's going out to your client while you're under contract? And to take a step back, you should also have an email sequence that goes out to them while they're in the pre-listing phase. And then in your active listing phase, you should have another email sequence. And then you're under contract, that's another email sequence. And then after the closing, you're going to have another sequence for those past clients. So those are going to be divided up between a buyer and a seller. And then you're going to have an email sequence for each one. And of course, they're all going to go on your newsletter. They're going to all go on any other things that you market through email or social media. And you want to make sure that you follow your client on social media, on all platforms, because not only are you showing that you're nurturing there, but then other people that are connected with your seller will see that you are the agent for them, and then they're going to come over to your social media and try to figure out who you are, if you're a good fit for them. Right? So that's why your social media should be stellar. It should be a variety of things, which we're going to go into in another podcast. But let me just say, you've got to have a marketing strategy for your listings for social media as well. And then you're going to do an e-blast to your database. So there's a lot of moving pieces, when you have a new listing and then when you go under contract and then after you close the property. You not only have to work with your past client and what you're doing with that campaign, but then also you've got to show that you sold that house. So you've got to do the marketing of, just sold, etc. So you've got to be very well organized in this particular area of the business, because this, we talked about lead management in my last podcast. Well, then now you have the listing and now you've got to follow it through. So that's where the database is supposed to be very organized. When you get a lead, you know where it goes. Now you have a new listing. Where did that seller come from? What marketing efforts did you do to get that seller to list with you? So these are the important things, so that, in 3 months, 6 months, and a year, you can go back and reflect on what worked for your business and what didn't as far as the marketing. Get ready to transform your life and your bottom line by turning expired listings into money in the bank while building your listing inventory. And we have done it all for you. Let me introduce you to the ultimate expired listing system. We have worked on this for 25 years and we have perfected it to show that this system is proven to bring you listings. In this course, you will get 7 video lessons on how to create a step-by-step system. You will get 10 postcards with a specific message or a call of action, 10 email sequences designed for the seller, 10 letters that will attract the seller's attention with a call of action, and then you'll get scripts created for you to schedule that first listing appointment. Your introductory package. This is the secret sauce to the success of the ultimate expired listing system. I'm giving you worksheets that we have created to keep you organized through the process. And these how-to videos that we have created for those who need a little help with technology and how to use it is to your advantage. We also offer you a private Facebook group dedicated to those that use the system. If you have questions, this is where you will go. If you want to network, this is where you go. And then we give you a bonus. We give to you the tools you need to create the profitable expired listing system. We are always offering bonuses for your accomplishments, extra training and support from the Kim Hughes team. We bring you over 80 years of combined real estate experience. Yes, we have that much experience. Ready to change your life? Ready to grow your business? Let's get started. Jump over to theultimateexpiredlistingsystem.com or visit kimhughes.com to learn more and how we can help you put this system in place. That is where I'm going to say you got to have a good system. I talk about this on every podcast. Systems are going to give you peace of mind. They are going to give you time back because you're not trying to remember. And then if you forget something, it could be detrimental to your business, or it could be, oh, it was just a little oops. But that oops could have cost you a client that you currently have because they didn't get something or you didn't communicate something to them. And that kind of just riled them up and they're not going to use you again. Well, if they're not going to use you again, they're not going to refer you. So you got to make sure that you have everything in order and everything is running smoothly. So this is an area that you're struggling in, know that I have so many resources on my website for just this topic. I have a freebie checklist. I have a listing presentation that you can purchase if you don't already have one or you need to update it. And then, there's some other resources on the website that are going to be able to help you put this together. But if you still need some help, then that's what we're here for. We're here to help you put your listing checklist, your closing checklist, and your past client checklist marketing strategy together for you. So we are very good at what we do. So let us help you out. Even if you just have a few questions, schedule a call. Let's talk about it. No obligation. Just I want to make sure that agents are taking this part of their business very seriously because this is going to save you so much time when you do get into having that first listing after you've got your checklist together. And then and if you don't have a checklist and then you create one, it'll be very interesting to see how much time and aggravation you save by having that checklist. So you should use the checklist and then sit back and reflect that how did I act when I didn't have this checklist and how do I act now? And I bet you $10 you're going to be able to see a huge improvement in your the way that you keep track of things in your mind and on your paper trails, digital trails, whatever that may be that helps you get yourself organized. So that was a lot, but I think that, the resources are there. Just go to the website, kimhughes.com. And then if you have any questions, click on the link and let's schedule a call and answer some questions. See if there's anything we can help you with. And then make sure that if you are looking for more information, jump over to YouTube. And then my blog also is available. So good luck. And if there's anything we can help you with, let me know. And I wish you all the very best. See you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you know someone, and I bet you do, who would appreciate this podcast, please share it with them. As a reminder, this podcast can be delivered directly to your favorite device by using the subscribed links you can find in the show notes below or over at unstoppablerealestateagents.com. Remember, it takes as much energy to wish as it does to plan. Have a great day.